Take a moment to get settled, to support yourself with whatever you need, blocks, cushions, a chair, the floor. Your legs don't have to be in any particular way. Let's begin today's practice with palms turned up on our laps. Just hands soft, palms open. And we'll start by noticing our breath. This breath that's a bridge from whatever our morning has been to where we are right now. So just following this bridge from outside to inside and noticing what's here. It's helpful to take an inventory of what's going on around you. So feel the earth beneath you. Feel the temperature of air on your skin. Notice any scent or smell around you, a taste. And take in the sounds. All of those senses get to be part of this experience, at least here in the beginning. As we further our yoga practice, we try to practice more pratyahara, which means ignoring our senses, not letting our senses pull us away from this centered place. But for now, let's welcome all of that in. As you deepen your breath, let your hands come over your chest. This gesture of self-care, self-acknowledgement. And take a moment to set intention. What do you need from this hour? How can this time on your mat support you as you go throughout the rest of your day? Make a vow with yourself to give yourself that. And then make a slow transition to child's pose. Letting your knees be wide, your big toes touch. You can be right here on elbows or stretch your arms out long. Find a comfortable place to surrender. And once you've found the place, again, engage the breath. Notice where breath is moving in your body now. Let's walk both of our hands over to the left side of our mat, one hand on top of the other, and then pull your hips back away from your hands. Find a diagonal stretch here that just starts to spread your ribs apart, create some space in your torso, and move breath into that space. Switching sides, reach the hands to the right, one hand on top of the other. Hips pull back away from your planted hands. Take deep, slow breaths, all the way in and all the way out. And arrive back center. Take another exhale in child's pose and just settle a little deeper here. Spreading the fingers wide, let's tuck our toes and lift our hips into downward facing dog. Everybody let out a big sigh. As you pedal your heels, shift your hips so your body's making a little kind of a twisty motion as one knee bends. Really draw the sensation up into the outside of the opposite hip. And do a little assessment. How are my hips today? Take a deep breath in as you come up onto all of your toes, and then exhale, press your heels down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, way up on your tippy toes. Exhale, drop down. And inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let your eyes shift forward and slowly walk your feet to meet your hands. Let's come into a forward fold here with bent knees. So really give your belly something to land on. Just a little pad like your thighs are just a nice little cushion for your belly. And then once you feel that support, touch your elbows, gently tug your bones down and find child's ragdoll. Kind of like child's pose, actually. Another pose of surrender. And press your hands to shins, lift and lengthen through a flat back. Feel every fiber lengthening, and then exhale again to this place of surrender, dropping down. Press, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lower down, surrender. One more time, press to lengthen. Exhale to fold. Bending the knees, sweep the arms high, extended mountain. And as your hands meet, sink your hips down into chair. Let's go through flowing chair as a way to start to build heat. And as you're moving through flowing chair, make the H sound. Like you're fogging up a mirror. Just let your breath be loud here at first. Both the inhale and the exhale, making that H sound. And then start to do that with your mouth closed. Let's go a little bit faster. One more time. And then inhale your arms all the way up like a star reaching out to the corners. Feel in this extended mountain pose, this sense of here I am. Like you just want to shine. Just want to let everything just be seen. And then bring your hands to heart center. And let this be a gesture of humility, of coming inward. So today I'd like to look at those two energies, the tug of war in us between ego, here I am, look at me, and humility, and the beautiful place between them. So let's feel that energy in our bodies. Inhale, arms up, and feel that expansive shining out into the world, met by a humility as we fold forward, a gentleness. Inhale to half lift, and exhale, downward facing dog. Shift forward into plank pose. And the ego might say, I'm going to do this on my toes and grit my teeth. But I would offer a humility of lowering the knees to the earth, rolling the elbow crease forward, lower halfway down. And just see how that feels, where that fire meets a humility. And then melt your body to the earth, roll the shoulders up and back, come into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, pedaling through the feet, opening around your hips. Looking forward, the feet meet the hands. Press to shins, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms high, extended mountain. And bring your hands to your heart. So again, watching for where ego and humility intersect. Most injury in yoga happens when the ego takes over. Let's reach the arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, down dog. And we'll take a vinyasa. So choosing knees or toes, but choosing with just a level of humility, not showing off or expecting yourself to be or do something bigger. We're just exploring. Looking forward, the feet come to the hands. Inhale, halfway, and exhale, fold. Rising high, extended mountain, hands to heart. Go through that moving meditation one more time. Reach and bow. Lift halfway and step back. Take a vinyasa, checking in with that intersection where ego and humility meet. We need the strength sometimes to push through, to expand. We need the softness sometimes to bring us back when we've gone too far. Look forward, feet come to hands. Inhale, half lift, and exhale, forward fold. Softening the knees, let's reach high, extended mountain, and this time interlace your fingers, point upward, hugging the arms into the face. It's the side of the head. Lift even taller and then just rock left to right. So using these two words, ego and humility, it's another way to say that edge. Where is there too much? Where is there not enough? What's the perfect middle? Come over to one side and hold and see if you can find that for yourself. A place where you're not forcing, not trying to get anywhere, but also it's interesting. There's something happening here. Something to observe. Come back to center and ease your way to the other side. Looking for an edge, not too much, not too little. Bringing ourselves back to center, let's lower the arms. We'll begin our exploration of hips right here. And hips are 360. We've got hip flexors, we've got outer hips, we've got inner thighs and glutes and hamstrings. So let's start by bringing hands to glutes, and we'll come into a standing back bend. We'll start with hip flexors. Draw the shoulders onto the back. Press the chest toward the ceiling. And just see if you could feel your hip flexors starting to extend. Looking for that perfect edge here. Exploring when we go too far and we notice sharp pain. When we get a little lazy and back out of the pose. And where the middle is. Breathe deeper. Feel more. Return to neutral, sweep your arms straight up overhead, and then exhale, sink down into chair. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Press to lift halfway and step back, downward facing dog. Your choice, stay or flow through vinyasa. When you feel ready, take your right leg to the ceiling and flex and point that foot, circle the ankle. See if you can feel length again across the hip flexors. Shifting forward, the knee comes toward the chin. We'll set our foot here at the top of our mat. And let's lower the back knee to the ground, patting up if you like. We'll find a nice stretch here for hip flexor and quadriceps. Pulling the sternum forward, giving this nice large muscle in the hip a chance to wake up. You can stay here or press up to your knee, come a little higher, get a little more opening there. And then whether you have lifted or stayed down, just see about tucking your tailbone and letting the hips sink just a tiny bit farther forward. Placing the left hand on the ground, circle the right arm up into a twist. And here you can choose staying on the knee or tucking the back toes. The goal is the left hip flexor, so which allows you the best access to that muscle. Find your edge. Breathe there. Let's return the hand to the ground. Moving into this next sequence, if your shoulders are kind of tight, have a strap nearby, maybe a t-shirt or a sock or something like that. Let's drop the back heel to the ground and we'll lift up into Warrior One. All right, Warrior One gives us a great opportunity to practice like, here I am, like just this kind of boastful, strong, powerful warrior. Try on instead, here am I. Instead of here I am, here am I. And is there a softening when you meet yourself here? Reach your arms behind you. This is where you could grab a strap or your hands. Moving into, of course, humble warrior. So taking a little deeper bend in the front knee, open up through the chest, and then hinge forward from your hips, head down, knuckles high. This can be a really frustrating pose. There's so much strength, but also we're bound into this, like, kind of forced to be humble here. Just notice your body's response, notice your mind's response to the humble warrior. And releasing the hands. Let your torso come up, rock onto your back toes and float the arms up. Fingers probably tingle a little bit. Take a hold of your left wrist and stretch through the left side of your body. Deep, full breaths here. Coming back to center, let's release hands to the earth. Press back into downward facing dog. And again, you have a choice. You can stay here or take a vinyasa. Choose at that intersection between ego and humility. Both can exist together. Let's raise the left leg up high, and that hip flexor should be a little loose, so you might get a little more height in that leg. Shifting forward, knee to chin, let's settle the foot at the top of the mat. And we'll drop the knee to the earth. Let's even out the sides. So once you find yourself here in this hip opener, close your eyes. You can either stay low or press up on the thigh. Just finding the perfect place to lengthen your right hip flexors. Move in and out, tuck the tailbone, find your place. Taking our twist, the right hand to the floor, left arm circles up. You can stay on the knee or lift the back knee. Find the place that feels like opening to your hips as you twist. So ego is not a bad thing. Ego is what gets us out of bed in the morning. It's what inspires us to make a difference in the world, to express ourselves in a unique way. But sometimes it takes over and pushes us beyond, especially when it comes to these physical postures. Let's release the hand to the earth. Coming up into warrior one, plant the back heel. And so rising up like, ta-da, here I am. And then soften just a little to find, here am I. I have a light to shine in the world, and I'm going to shine my light. The arms come behind, strap or interlace. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and let's explore humble warrior. So if we hang on to that analogy of a light, you want to be a light in the world, but you don't want to be a floodlight blinding people, right? You want to be more like a warm glow, like a light bulb that just makes the room warm. Can you embody that here in humble warrior? A light that people want to be around, illuminating someone else's path. Release the hands, float the arms up, let those fingers tingle and come up onto your back toes. Take a hold of your right wrist, stretch the right side of your body. Find some glorious space in your body. And slowly release the hands to the earth, downward facing dog, optional vinyasa, or stay right here. And you know that child's pose is always an option as well. Pedal through your heels. We're going to start to make our way into the outer edges. Take the feet wide, the width of your yoga mat, and walk your hands back to your feet. Come into this wide version of forward fold. And then the hands will come around to the outside of one of your feet and just take a hold of the outer leg, the outer ankle, and very gently pull yourself down over the outer leg. You might notice something in the opposite hip, outer edges. Coming back to center, switch, hands to the right. Gently take a hold of the lower leg and allow that outer hip to feel stretch. And returning to center, put a deep bend in your knees, hands to the thighs, lift your chest. Inhale, arms all the way up. Let's interlace our fingers again. I'll turn to face you for this one. Cross your right foot behind your left foot. Right foot behind the left. So you're going to be on that blade, the outside edge of that back foot. Lift up high and bend over toward your left side. So the right leg is behind, You're leaning to the left. You should feel that all the way down that right side. Return to center, lower your hands to your hips. Chest stays lifted. We'll fold forward over the legs. You can soften the knees. You can place a block under your hands. And now walk your hands toward the left side. So it's like you can tickle yourself on the bottom of that sideways foot. This should be giving you a lot of sensation around your right outer hip. Right, Jane? I know you always hate this one. Find a little tiny rocking motion here. It's like you're, maybe imagine that you're foam rolling that outer leg, just gently rocking. And the fingertips come back to center. Uncross your feet. Press to half lift. And fold yourself forward, and just notice the difference between the right leg and the left, if any. Let's lift halfway and sweep the arms up all the way. We'll take that to the second side. Left leg now crosses behind onto the outside edge of that foot. Separate your feet a little. And once you've gotten as tall as you can, lean over toward the right side. You're feeling the stretch now down this left outer hip. Bring breath into wherever it needs to be. Explore these outer edges. Coming back to center, lower your hands. We'll find the hip crease and hinge forward into a forward fold with our legs crossed. And soften your knees. Walk the hands over to the right. Ooh. Oh. You might find one side is a little different than the other. Working your edge, not too much, not too little. Let's find this little rocking motion. Kind of swiveling through the hips. You don't want this to be excruciating, but you want it to be interesting. And let's release to center. Uncross your feet. I think I left you at the back edge of your mat, so go ahead and walk your hands forward into downward facing dog. You can take a vinyasa, of course, if you like. We're going to take the right foot through. So again, we're coming to the outside edge of our right foot. Both of our legs are straight here to start with. Walk your hands forward and roll over into this wide side plank. So stack your shoulder over your wrist. If this doesn't feel good to your wrist, you can be on an elbow. You could drop this knee down. But we're just going to do a little hip lift and lower thing here. It's kind of fun. And then go ahead and just set that hip on the floor. So your legs are kind of making this L shape. And we're going to walk our hands to the front of our mat. Let your back knee relax. Pull your chest forward. This should give something down the outer hip and lower back. And of course, this front hip. This is a variation of pigeon. Just give yourself a few breaths right here. Pressing up to fingertips. Let's bring that knee all the way in to pigeon. Right knee, right wrist. Square the hips, place something underneath your hip if you like, and lower yourself down. You can use your hands or a block for a little pillow under your forehead. So breathing here. So ego would say, push yourself. You need to be doing this better today than you did yesterday. And humility, the extreme would say, I can't do this. I'll never be able to do this. I'm not strong, flexible, whatever, enough. Let's look for the intersection. The yes, I can, with a humility that shows the way. Maybe it's a modification or a prop. Maybe it's opting out and doing an entirely different shape or pose in your body. Releasing up to our hands. Let's just do a little science experiment here. Tuck your back toes. Lift your right leg up. Give it a shake. And then step it through. Dropping the heel, come up into warrior after pigeon. Hands behind, open your chest. And let's take a second look at humble warrior after we've been in pigeon to see if anything has shifted. Raise your hands a little higher, drop your head a little lower, deep breaths. And release, hands to mat, downward facing dog. Optional vinyasa. All right, the left leg shoots through. So the legs are straight, we're on the outside edge of the left foot, and we roll open into this side plank. Lifting and lowering the hips, feeling those outer edges. You can drop to an elbow if that feels better. And then we'll let that leg come to the floor. We'll make our legs an L shape, hands to the mat, like Sphinx pose. It always takes a little wiggling and juggling to get to just the right place. Explore this. This is a twist. It's also a hip opener. What are you noticing in your body as it's in this shape? Let's release from here and come into pigeon. So just shifting that left knee to the left wrist, inching the right knee back and coming down. Once you find the place where your knee is not feeling any sharp pain and you can be here, support your head. Bring your attention in here. Witness, notice, observe. So ego says, I know it all. There's nothing else for me to learn. And humility says, I don't know enough. What have I got to share? And then the intersection of the two is, I know just enough to help someone else, and I have a lot to learn. Does that resonate in your body I know just enough. I have exactly what I need to be right here. And I have a lot to learn. Let's release, hands to mat, tuck the toes, sweep your left leg high. Ooh, give it a shake. I'm making a lot of noise today. Stepping through warrior one, so planting that foot, dropping the heel, we come on up. And once you feel your base, let's take humble warrior. So a strap or the hands, dive in. See if you have a little more room now in this pose, a little more foundation, a little more ease. Feel your breath in your shoulders, your chest, your upper back, everything expanding. Release your hands, fingers tingling, downward facing dog. This will be the last invitation to take a vinyasa. Completely optional. Stepping again, the feet out wide. And walking our hands back, we'll start to pay attention now to the inner thighs, the adductors. So turn your toes off the mat, keep your heels on your mat, soften the knees a little, and then take a hold of ankles and gently pull yourself down. So your feet are turned out in this forward fold, and we're just gonna rock our body weight side to side. What you're feeling here are the inner hamstrings, semi-membranosus, and they are very closely related to the inner thigh, the adductor group. Let the fingertips come to the floor, lengthen to a flat back, and then bend and straighten your knees a few times. It's like you're lubricating the joints. And come down into your choice, your expression of Malasana prayer squat. You can drop your hips down or you can keep the hips high. That's a little more work. But either way, elbows inside the knees, press the knees out to stretch those adductors a bit more. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Breathe. Return your hands to the mat. All right, I think we're ready. Drop your knees and we will move into frog pose. Of course, we have to do that if we're doing hip openers. So here's a nice little treat. Grab a pillow or a block in front of you. Turn to the sideways edge of your mat and fold the edges in. This will give you more padding under your knees. So frog pose is like a very, very wide child's pose, not nearly as fun. So inch your knees out and start to just kind of scooch. See how I'm kind of rocking from side to side so that I can get my knees as wide as they'll go, straight out from my hips. And then if you have a pillow or a cushion in front of you, it's kind of helpful to just rest your head there. Whole torso down onto a pillow. Makes this a little more bearable. You got something to rest on. Check in again, that beautiful intersection between can and can't. Have to versus I don't want to. Flex your feet and just scooch your feet a little bit wider. Breathe a little bit deeper. in a little bit of gentleness here, a little humility. Letting go of the performance, the doing it right. Coming into more of a feeling it, an experience. Notice your body settling, things letting go, less resistance. If there's still resistance, you've either pushed over the edge or your mind is telling your body to resist this. Just see. Gently press yourself back up, into your knees in. And let's unfold our mat. All right, we've done front, side, inner. What's left are hamstrings and glutes. So we'll take the rest of our time together seated. And if you do have a pillow, a cushion, something in front of you, grab that for this. It might feel really nice to have just a pillow right here. You don't have to, but it'll be an option. So clear the flesh. Press yourself forward. And so we're in a kind of a medium straddle, not the widest straddle. Bring your hands forward onto your pillow or your mat and just start to pull your body forward. The action is forward. If you can get to a point where you can just bring that pillow under your belly, under your chest. Maybe you need a couple of pillows, something under your head. Supported forward fold. And then start to investigate that same thing here, the intersection. Where am I pushing too much? Where am I holding out? Paying attention to an edge here, and that could show up anywhere in your body. Where do you feel an edge of sensation? Is it inviting you into more or a little less? Let's bring ourselves back up to a seat. You could just move any props you have out of the way. I'm gonna take cradle the baby. This is one of my favorite glute stretches. So let's start with our left foot. And you can hold the foot and the knee with your hands or elbows. Let's see which one of those works best for you. Maybe it's one of each. Let the other leg just support you in a comfortable way. Sit tall through the spine. This foot is flexed. That will protect your knee. And then I love a little glute massage. So I'm just going to put one hand on the floor and just roll out that left glute like you would if you had a tennis ball. I do not advise a tennis ball in this particular position though. That's pretty harsh. But just roll your glute. And then let's take a hold of this big toe, the left big toe with your left peace fingers, and slowly extend that leg in front of you. The knee might stay bent, or you can take it up. So just come into this hamstring stretch here. Tall spine, elbow bent, foot flexed. Just pulling that leg towards you and letting those muscles lengthen. And soften and release. Butterfly, you can bounce out your knees. And let's go to the other side. Cradle the baby, so either hands or elbows. Maybe one of each. And we'll just start to roll out through this right glute, right hip, and feel free to let the other knee come up. Just move around in that big muscle as much as you can. When I say big muscle, you're probably thinking, speak for yourself. However big that muscle is, massage it all the way around, up and down, side to side. Find the places that need massage. And then let's take our right fingers around our right big toe and slowly extend that leg in front of us. The knee can stay bent or straighten. Find your edge. Sit as tall as you can, and then just bend your elbow, pull that leg in towards you. Deepen the breath. Witness, observe. And release that foot down. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees wide. I'm going to move us back down, back into Shavasana, but if you've gone to all the trouble of having a pillow out, you could give yourself a really wonderful, relaxing pose for today. Bringing that pillow up behind your hips and just letting your body lay back over a pillow. That might feel like heaven, it might not. So just options if you are using those props today. Otherwise, you're going to lay flat on your back. We did a lot of hip opening today, so it might be nice to keep the knees bent and the feet together for Shavasana. Or you might prefer legs extended out. Just kind of do a couple of little experimental shapes and see what feels most relaxing. This is where the ego takes over, wanting to get busy, again, doing. So in this pose, let humility win. Let the soft side of you take over, the surrender piece. And the way to do that is paying more attention to breath. Let your breath be more interesting than the thoughts. Noticing again the air coming in and out of your nose. The feeling of the earth beneath you and gravity holding you here. Notice temperature, taste, smell, and sound. Blink your eyes open to find yourself again in the room where you are, and just start to stretch into this room, arms long, wiggling and yawning, sighing, and eventually finding a seat. Once you find your seat, again, let your hands cover your heart, just checking in with that intention you set at the beginning of this practice. What did you need from this time, and has it arrived yet? I will leave us with these words attributed to Jesus in the Gospel of St. Thomas. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. As we bring our hands together in the front of our hearts, may we together as a community step into this day with our light shining warmth on everyone we meet, laced with a little bit of humility that makes that light easy to see. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Namaste.